Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome into Coffee Break presented by Bathfitter. Happy to have you with us. Yes, good morning, Josh. Good morning to everybody in the comments already. You guys are the freaking best. Today's going to be an interesting show. One, because I might get interrupted by the cleaning ladies and they might say, hey, you got to get out here in just a few minutes. Two, VJ back in the conversation. There's a lot to get into. So let's do that as we welcome in DMAC, of course, for this Thursday episode. And again, thank you to Bathfitter for sponsoring a Coffee Break. DMAC, how are you?
Right on, Bathfitter. I'm doing good. I'm just looking outside, Rachel. We got a blanket of snow as I peer out upon Smoky Hill High School and my deck, which I just leave out there and stuff piles up on it and probably ruins it. So we got a lot of beautiful sunshine, but we got hammered with snow yesterday.
Yeah, see, I'm not sad. I'm staring at palm trees right now. It's a solid 78 degrees, partly cloudy, so I'm not too mad about it. But I do know I have to come back to the snow tomorrow, so I'm not looking forward to that. That's going to be a little bit of a bummer on my Friday.
How has the surprise, vacation, work, boyfriend, friends, all that?
It's been good. It's been good. Yeah, we went out. I will say Florida food has not impressed. I've been down to Florida plenty of times before, but the place we're actually staying, I have not been super impressed by the food, but I am going to the beach today. That's all I wanted to do on this entire trip was to just go see the ocean and put my feet in the water, and I'm going to be able to accomplish that today, so I'm excited for it.
Is February good beach going time in Florida?
It is when you live in Colorado and it's 24 degrees there. I'll take it at any cost.
Because you said, what do you say, upper 70s?
Yeah, it's 78.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
I'm not going to go full body into the ocean, but I'm going to put my feet in, all right? I'm going to read my Kindle. I'm going to enjoy the beach, enjoy the view.
Fair enough. Sounds great. So real quick, one of the greatest things I ever did in my life was when I was a kid, when I was in high school, from Massachusetts, for 2 spring trainings, this was in high school, we went to Florida for spring training in high school in February. And nice. It was just such a memorable time in my life. And I really thought going to Florida in February, it was like the hottest thing ever. It probably was just in the upper 70s. It probably wasn't really much different. But when you come from a cold climate,
yep.
No, of course and we were all Northeast kids. We were all running around the beach. We were the only ones, because I think smarter people realized what was going on. But the feeling of just getting somewhere like that at this time of year is wonderful. So, Rachel, enjoy your time at the beach and have fun.
Okay, I'm reading the comments right now. I love it. Huge win for the Avs last night. Somebody said, put that do not disturb sign up. So we're actually switching hotels today. So I was supposed to leave at 12 o'clock here in Florida, so 10 a.m. But then I was like, hey, could I stay till 1:30? And they were like, we'll give you 1. And so then I went back down a little later and I was like, can you just give me till 1:15 till my show ends? And he was like, yeah, that's fine. The cleaning ladies might come by. And I'm like, okay, sounds good.
That's too funny.
Watched your video. I'm a little worried about you stalking your boyfriend. Well, he lives with me, so And Evan says you have to commit. I'm assuming you're talking about me jumping into the ocean. I don't know if I'll be committing that hard, Evan. I'm sorry to disappoint. If I do, I will definitely videotape it. And then great Nuggets win last night. Edward says good morning. Agreed. We're going to get into the Nuggets talk here in just a little bit.
Okay.
Because I feel like they're kind of being disrespected by the odds for the championship. But first, we got to talk a little bit of Broncos because the main news coming out last night is that Vance Joseph is back in the conversation to possibly be the defensive coordinator. DMAC, why is this? Our caption for today's show was why are the Broncos looking for such a unique person to be the defensive coordinator, right? We're talking about Rex Ryan. We're talking about Vance Joseph. Vic Fangio was in it before he committed. Why are we dealing with such unique names that have history tied to Denver?
I think that's a little bit of a coincidence, and it's also got to do with the fact that I don't think Sean Payton is actually really connected with a lot of people who are available for this particular job. We thought it was going to be Sean Desai. Doesn't look like that anymore. There was no obvious connection between Payton and Desai. Rex Ryan, there's a connection. I mean, they're obviously friends. They've known each other for a long time. Maybe he likes the aggressive scheme that Rex Ryan would run, but Sexy Rexy Rach hasn't been a coach since 2016.
Yep.
It's been a minute. Then you go to VJ in Arizona. It kind of actually makes sense. Now, I know it feels weird because he was just the head coach here during a miserable time and got fired. But as a defensive coordinator with the Cardinals, he's actually been pretty good. Mm-hmm. He absolutely got interviews in the head coaching search. He didn't get it, but he was certainly a candidate. And now that the Cardinals are hiring Rich Gannon to not Rich Gannon. What am I thinking of? Some Gannon. Help me out there. Anyways, Gannon.
Hold on. It's going to come to me.
I know. I'm just, Gannon. Anyways, he's going there, and he's a defensive-minded guy, and BJ wouldn't fit there. What? Are you going to think of it?
I'm trying so hard.
What the hell's his name? Gannon.
I really want to say, like, Jonathan
Gannon.
I did that before Jake even gave it to me, too. So, boom. Or even the comment. Andrew, thank you.
Jonathan Gannon. Sorry. Our bad. So now that he goes there, he's a defensive guy, period. You know that VJ's kind of out of luck. But here's the weird thing with VJ there, Rachel. He signed an extension. Mm-hmm. They owe him 2 years. So if he just keeps his mouth shut, they got to pay him, or they got to use him or pay him one way or the other. Yep. But he's going to have he ironically is now, they've asked permission from the Eagles to hire VJ. So VJ, I know this feels weird, but VJ is actually the hottest defensive coordinator candidate out there right now. He's the most qualified. He's the most experienced in terms of what's available, Rachel, right now. So despite his history with the Broncos, you kind of got to get past that. And I do understand, been talking to some people behind the scenes, that he would love to come back to Denver. His family loved Denver. Like, there's no beefs with him coming back to Denver. And don't forget, he's got a rich history, at CU as well. All sorts of ties here to Colorado. So while it feels weird, Rachel, in all honesty, he's way more qualified than Rex Ryan in terms of today's NFL. But again, Rach, he doesn't have much of a history with Sean Payton.
Well, and I don't exactly look at the Cardinals and what they did last year, and I'm like, oh, man, he's going to just create this crazy good defense or anything of that nature. Like, that's the one thing I don't get is we're seeing they haven't had much success, which is why he got fired here in Denver. The Arizona hasn't been very good. So why are we looking at him to bring in? And I understand the past history, but you just kind of said it with today's NFL, which is why Rex Ryan's kind of like a question mark too.
It's tricky. It's one thing to say, hey, fire Nathaniel Hackett, he stinks, right? Everybody's like, it's terrible. Lanterns and pitchforks. The whole thing. But a lot of times what's never discussed is the fact if you do fire that head coach, Rachel, you got to replace probably 90% of the other assistant coaches. And I think the Broncos had something like 30-something assistant coaches, and of course, 3 significant coordinators, offensive, defensive, and special teams. Like, I don't know if I just saw this before we started. Mike Westhoff, who is 75 years old, is taking a photo of himself in the snow at Jackson Hole saying, hey, I'm coming to Colorado. Yep. So Mike Westhoff, who is a long-time special teams dude, is tipping everybody off that he's about to be hired by Sean Payton for special teams. Mm-hmm. Rachel, he's 75. Okay. No ageism here. He's out in the snow in Jackson Hole. He's obviously a healthy, active guy. That's awesome. But I'm saying this to show that Sean Payton may be leaning towards more people with experience than mm-hmm. first-timers. So if it's not Sean Desai, who's a first-timer that he doesn't know, you got to go with people that Rex Ryan may be a little bit too old. We'll see how it goes. It may still be Rex Ryan. But unbelievably, Rach, you get to VJ, and I think he did an okay job with the Cardinals. I mean, they had a lot of problems. And you can watch him on Hard Knocks. VJ looks pretty impressive on Hard Knocks in season on HBO. So he may be the best candidate. And let me give you this. If you hire a minority or a woman to be, because of the amended Rooney Rule, a woman or a minority candidate as a coordinator, if they get a head coaching job after 2 years of being with your team, you get 2 third-round draft choices.
Yeah.
So not only is he on the surface more qualified than Rex Ryan, so let's just start there. The benefit, if he succeeds, benefits you as a team way more than it would benefit having Rex Ryan here. So if you get Rex Ryan here, he better be unbelievable. You got to know that he's going to be better than VJ, who right now is in the game and appears to be more qualified. So I think it's a fascinating decision.
Let's pretend Vic Fangio was back, and I believe I've already asked you this question. He was still available. Would you pick Fangio over Vance Joseph?
I would.
So then you're automatically going to a
I
second
would
option.
because I've talked to so many ex-players of Fangio, who, including Derek Wolf, who didn't like Fangio as a head coach, but did like him for his defensive schemes and being a coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
I just, to me, Fangio is just like, eesh. I personally, I like VJ way more than Fangio. And,
he had a little more life to him.
That's for sure. History will tell you that VJ was put in a really bad spot. John Elway brought him in to basically be a puppet, and Elway put all the other coaches around him. VJ could have done better on some of his communication things back in the day with some of his players. That's where he lost the team specifically. Mm-hmm. There was a rumor about TJ Ward about to be traded, and VJ assured him he wasn't going anywhere. But VJ didn't know what Elway was working on. So VJ just sort of spoke before he knew all of the information. He didn't mislead TJ Ward and his teammates on purpose. He just didn't quite know what was going on. Uh-huh. And that just, you got to understand, TJ Ward was just one of the guys, man. He was just no fly zone. He was just, TJ was a core dude, not only as a player, but as a friend to all these guys. So when they dealt TJ Ward like that, VJ looked like he didn't know what he's talking about. And you had some big personalities with Chris Harris and Aqib Talib. And it just, kind of sunk the ship right from the start because of it. Well, you wouldn't have to deal with any of that stuff anymore. I'd be fine with giving VJ, another shot here. He's already kind of, redone himself other places. So why not? That being said, for chaos sake, Rachel, for entertainment's sake, it's Rex Ryan all the way. I guarantee you, VJ will be boring. He will be a more boring coach than Rex Ryan.
So which I don't even know if we need more drama, considering we have a quarterback who likes the spotlight. I'll play nice. And another head coach that likes the spotlight. Also, all the people that are coming at me, you and James, about the red flag of Sean Payton also enjoying the spotlight. I'm like, you guys, simmer down. Like, it's true. People can like the spotlight, and that's very clear, but we've also seen what's happened. I was annoyed with the comment section after that video.
I saw that. It was an interesting response right there. Simmer. Listen, people don't want to think I get it. People don't want to think any bad things exist. I just, with Nathaniel Hackett, okay? Mm-hmm. We probably should have slowed our enthusiasm roll just a pinch on Nathaniel Hackett. Boy, oh boy, did we just buy into all.
And there he goes, getting another phone call. You never know who it's going to be this time. Oh, here he comes. Oh, nope, just kidding. Anyways, I'm not sold on VJ. I personally don't think what he did with Arizona, and I see everybody in the comments too is like, oh, he'll have a better staff when he's here. Who was it? You got to tell me.
My wife.
Kim.
My wife.
Kim.
I know, Rach. When are we in the new studio? When are we
there? T-minus less than 2 weeks.
Oh, my God. Thank God. I can't wait.
Okay, real quick, though. Sell me on why what you saw out of Vance Joseph in Arizona should convince me that I should get on board with this, because right now I'm not.
I can't, really. If you're not on board with it, I'm not going to sell you a pet on that one. I think I'm just going to have to go with the benefits of VJ maybe down the line if he gets a head coaching job and his experience. Rachel, seriously, other than that, who else is out there with experience as a defensive coordinator who's even available? VJ is the top experienced candidate right now. He is. And if you get him, you're getting the top available experienced guy. Other than that, Rachel, there's a lot of guys out there that you could get to be their first time as a coordinator, as you got with Ivero, who worked out terrific. So I'm not saying it can't work, but I think if Sean Payton knew somebody that he wanted to give a first-time opportunity to, I think we would have already heard about it. And Sean Desai was kind of moving down those train tracks, and now it appears like that's derailed. I don't know. So
what do you think happened there?
And then the crazy thing is, you got to figure this stuff out quick, The combine comes up in like 10 days or so, and you got to have your staff together for that, ideally.
Mm-hmm.
So time is ticking. And don't forget, you're fighting now with the Eagles, who are restocking specifically for VJ.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got to go. You got to go. You got to go. It's got to happen here fast.
Interesting. What do you think happened with Desai?
No clue. That is a bizarre mystery.
You don't
I
have
mean,
any little
that's.
birdies?
I think at the end of the day, Rach, if I could just guess, and I'm seriously just guessing here, I would just guess that Payton was just a little freaked out. The guy didn't have any experience. Seriously, I mean that's the only thing I can put together with him talking to Rex Ryan and the interest in VJ. They want more experience, and the fact that they want to get Westhoff, who's 75, off the ski hill, and Jackson Hole to be the special teams coach, perhaps. I mean, that's another sign that he wants more experienced guys. And he's looking at who he's hiring. Strength and conditioning coach that he worked with, tight ends coach that he worked with. I mean, he's using all these guys that right now that he's already been with and have had experience, not their first time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why Desai just sort of didn't meet muster at the end of the day. He just lacked the experience.
Okay, it's interesting. Well, do you know who Logan Kilgore is?
Oh my God, that sounds very familiar. Is this the Arch Manning's coach?
Yep.
Yeah.
Who is joining the Broncos staff?
That's a fun conspiracy theory. I mean, Arch Manning's going to be, well, he's at Texas right now. He graduated high school early.
Yep.
So he's going through spring football with Texas right now. He'll be out there in 2023, 24, 25. So he'll be in the 2026 draft. Now, that is high-level conspiracy crap to say, well, listen, we're gonna get this guy on board, so we're gonna set up the entire team for when Russell Wilson theoretically would be retiring in 3 more. I mean, that is wild.
Wait, you took this just completely a different way than I was taking this.
How so?
I was just saying, they believe that if they could bring in somebody, I'm assuming he's obviously going to work with Russell Wilson to see what they can do with Russ. And it's just interesting that it's obviously related to the Manning. I wasn't even putting together the fact that, Arch Manning will most likely be finished at Texas by the time Russ is done.
I guess it's the old kill 2 birds with 1 stone sort of thing. You can do 2 things at the same time. So maybe both. I mean, you may be able to accomplish both. Listen, that is high-level conspiracy stuff right there, Rach.
Yeah.
So I may be going off the deep end there, but it's hard not to at least have a smile and a laugh about it that you would see Russ as a quarterback for 3 more years. I'm going Inglorious Bastards, the German 3. And you then, after 4 years with Russ, we see how we do, right? And Russ would be 37. Maybe he has a little bit of time left. Who knows? But there you are, set up to try to get Arch Manning. I mean, I know we joked about this for the past couple of years because Arch Manning's been on the scene, but now it's kind of strangely getting closer and closer to a possible reality.
Have you watched any of his games? I won't lie, I have not. Like, is he truly this incredible that we should be talking about a kid that has not even played a snap down at Texas and everyone's like, sign him?
Well, I think he was the number 2 ranked quarterback in his class in the country.
Yeah.
I believe there's another kid, his name escapes me, who was actually ranked above him. So in terms of just sort of an objective evaluation process, he actually was that good. And his decision to go to Texas, he was recruited, Rachel, by everybody. He could have gone anywhere he wanted.
Yeah.
And then you look at the celebrity status, and I was down at the Hall of Fame a couple Hall of Fame inductions ago, and there he is, like as a junior in high school, signing autographs at Canton. And you realize that there's something unique about this kid that, in terms of maturity and ability, natural gifts and training that other kids just don't have. So you probably wouldn't meet anybody more ready, theoretically, to come into the NFL. And the Mannings did something very interesting. They turned down all NIL opportunities for Arch. They did not want, he doesn't have to worry about money. He doesn't need it, okay? So he's lucky like that. So they didn't want to have him obligated to anything. And I think that takes a lot off your shoulders as well. Listen, there's going to be unbelievable scrutiny on this kid. And he has to constantly live up to his uncles Eli and Payton. So it's not going to be an easy road for him. But if you really do want to look, 4 drafts down the road, it's hard to imagine he won't be a top 5 pick.
Okay. I'm just saying, you took this in a whole other way. I was just saying, it's interesting that we're
Rachel,
having a
what are the core problems to the Broncos according to me, T-Mac?
Russell Wilson,
And his contract.
George Payton,
Yes.
and injuries.
Correct. And Hackett, who's gone.
We don't have
So I haven't changed. I think Sean Payton should move on from George Payton. I think they
But if he's a top 5, you really think that the Broncos are gonna suck for 3 more years so badly that they could get a top 5?
This is where you got to be kind of clever. I mean, you got to be really clever because you got to do some deals with teams that may suck in order to be in that particular spot. I mean, it's tough, Rachel. It's and you know what? You know what's crazy? In 4 years from now, we may have a draft lottery in the NFL like they do in the NBA. Yeah, that's been discussed. That's been talked about. Oh yeah, because you can't have just teams tanking in the NFL. You just can't. And it's just it doesn't look good. It's gross. It's not fair either. So, I think some sort of lottery system may in 4 years actually be the way things go. It's the right thing to do. And we'll see. So I don't think you can sort of make any assumptions right now about what you can't do in 4 years because things likely would change greatly. But it's not a bad idea to keep an eye. Rachel, the reason why the Broncos are so bad is because there was no plan for life after Peyton Manning. There wasn't. We thought there was, which was Brock Osweiler. You spent 4 years developing him. You would not have won the Super Bowl that year without him. You won 11 games by 7 or less points. He was 5-2 as a starter. Brock was your guy right up until the last game of the season after Manning went out. And then, the Broncos have been spinning since then. They haven't known what they want to do at quarterback. They've had no philosophy. So if you want to do best by your organization, hey, let's ride, right, with Russ. But if you want the best for your organization, you always have to be thinking about the next quarterback. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And hiring this guy, Logan, what's his face? Logan something or other? Logan
Kilgore.
Logan. He's got, knives for, he's Logan. He's, I think it's interesting. And if they were that forward thinking, I'd give him credit.
Okay. Interesting. I don't know how I feel about that, D-Mac. I won't lie to you. I just don't.
What are your hesitations, Rachel? Why are you perplexed?
Because just the idea of, well, first of all, I'm also stuck on an NFL lottery, which is a bizarre thing in general to even think about because we've obviously known it for so long for how it is. But also just the fact that teams do, and I know it happens all the time, but teams really do just bomb seasons in hopes that you can get somebody in the draft who may not even turn out to be what you thought they were going to be. Like, you don't know. And that always, I'm just like, I don't understand that. Like, there is such a 50-50 possibility that player is going to be great or that player is going to suck. And you have no idea.
Can I give you worse news then? Because I've done the analytics and research on it. You can use whatever metrics you want. The hit percentage, success percentage on highly drafted quarterbacks, Rachel, really is seriously around 36%.
So that's why I get confused why everyone jumps at it.
Because the further you go down, it reduces by almost half. Second round, 17%. Third round, 8-9%. Yada, yada, yada. Listen, Rachel, if everybody wanted Brock Purdy, why would anybody draft a quarterback unless I'll just wait till the 7th round? So for every Jalen Hurts second round success story, you wouldn't believe how many Drew Locks are out there that just never made it, that really weren't the guy. So to say, hey, Jalen Hurts second round, that's awesome. Good for Jalen Hurts, right? Yeah. But that is a terrible strategy to wait that long. And that is the essence of the debate I've had with Mike Evans. And I understand your hesitation, and this is why it's so tough. The hit rate, and it's the best chance, is at 36%. Never mind 50-50. It's actually worse than that.
That's really tough.
It's really tough.
Did you do the numbers yourself, or did you find something on it?
I did the work myself, Rachel. And I invite anybody.
Oh.
See, here's where I use a Super Bowl championship means virtually nothing. Rachel, only 4% of any quarterback ever drafted has won a Super Bowl. That's it. 4% any quarterback any round. And a lot of it is heavily slanted by how successful Tom Brady was, winning 7 of them. That is 4%. So you can't use winning a Super Bowl as a metric if you should draft a quarterback. However, winning a Super Bowl clearly establishes legacy. That's a different conversation. When you draft a quarterback, you're not worried about legacy. You want to win a championship. In order to win a championship, you have to win games and be successful in the playoffs. So a fair metric is how many of those quarterbacks, first of all, get their team to the playoffs, and what do they do when they're in the playoffs, but not winning a Super Bowl. So really, if you wanted to look at a metric for success, it's making the playoffs and getting a bye or winning a first-round playoff game. So how many quarterbacks actually fit that criteria? Go back and look at the quarterbacks this year, Rachel. The top 8 quarterbacks in the AFC were all highly drafted first-round guys. It was less in the NFC. It was only like Daniel Jones. So it was a little weird in the NFC. But if you just looked at the AFC alone, where the Broncos compete, you would see the same thing over and over and over again. Is Joe Burrow a less than quarterback because he didn't win the Super Bowl? Well, hell no. Josh Allen, Tua Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence, no, Rachel. But Justin Herbert, they all got their teams to the playoffs. It just so happens the unicorn, Mac Daddy of them all, Patrick Mahomes, who is a slam dunk unanimous Hall of Famer right now, won it again, okay, with a rebuilding team. That's how good he is. So forget about, I don't know what's going to happen. Rachel, at some point, you've got to take a shot, or you're just going to use old quarterbacks over and over and over again and hope it works. But old quarterbacks are expensive, and they're old, and you're only going to have them for a short period of time. Rachel, you want to hear something disturbing? Patrick Mahomes is 27.
I know. He's
how old 27, Rachel. 27.
I know.
He's 27.
I won't lie to you, Mac.
And I watched the parade. He had his first beer yesterday.
Yeah, that's a lie. Yeah, okay. You actually did just convince me a little bit, though, using the stats. I understand to slightly, but this does open up the next question. Is it time for the Broncos to start shopping now for extra picks to use in the draft? Because they only have 2 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, 5th, and 6th. Like, it is not a heavy draft class. Obviously, they gave up quite a bit for Sean Payton, but is it time to start shopping, or do you stick with some of the guys you already have on your team?
It's a great question. Our guy, Raj Sharon, did a nice little research project, and he found that Sean Payton really doesn't care about draft picks. There were 6 years that he was with the Saints, maybe 7 years actually, that he used 5 or less draft picks. And what that shows you, too, is that Sean Payton, a significant amount of time, year after year, actually, would package picks for one particular player. And it wasn't the same type of player. 1 year it's a linebacker, 1 year it's a running back, 1 year it's an offensive lineman. It kind of depends. So Sean Payton actually doesn't care. Sean Payton, what he wants to do is get high quality. He doesn't care about quantity. Now, the problem with that's the exact opposite of George Payton. George Payton is all about the quantity, accumulating, and then building with a lot of depth with a lot of players. That is not Sean Payton. So I do wonder if these guys, this is going to be kind of a little clash that we're looking at. Because what would you rather have at this point? They only have 5 picks, Rachel, in this year's draft. So would you rather package those 5 picks somehow and get one great guy and maybe 2 others? Who knows? Or would you rather deal some current players, get more draft picks, and build that way? And this will be fascinating to see how the Broncos decide to handle this. Because on the surface, George Payton and Sean Payton are at opposite ends of the spectrum. So this is going to be really interesting how they move forward. So when you say get more draft picks, I mean, maybe. I think if it was up to George Payton, he would. I mean, he's proved that that's what he wants to do. But if you look at Sean Payton's history, why bother? Let's go get free agents that we know can play, and let's target the one guy we think we can go get in the draft who's our guy. And it doesn't really matter what the other picks are.
Okay. If you were to shop anybody around, who would you think? Is Draymond just the biggest name?
But he's a free agent. You can't shop him. You'd have to tag and trade him.
True, yeah.
So, I mean, there's really no shopping of Draymond. You just got to tag him and keep him, or you got to give him a new contract. Yeah. And I doubt they would tag and trade him. When you're talking, and Dalton Reiser's a free agent too. When you're talking shopping guys around, you're very limited. I mean, you're just talking about basically Justin Simmons or Cortland Sutton. Those are your names.
Yeah.
And frankly, as great as Justin Simmons is, and he's great, in terms of safeties, Rachel, and he's great, but he is kind of overvalued in terms of his salary. Again, I'm not saying he's not worth it, and I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. I'm just telling you, for what you get out of safeties and what they're normally paid, Justin Simmons is such at the top end. It just feels unlikely that there would be a team willing to that just values him that much. But nobody's denying he's a great player. It's just that his value kind of outprices his actual position. And then you go to, what's that?
I was going to say, everyone in the comments is saying Simmons.
Well, okay.
Did I say something?
Well, they're not wrong. It's just that I'm telling you that's a tough thing to convince people.
Yeah.
It's difficult because who's going to take on his salary? You have to do that when you trade somebody. And who needs a safety that bad? I mean, what team is like, we could win the Super Bowl if we just had Justin Simmons?
Yeah.
Now, it's a weird thing when you draft somebody, they excel expectations. He was a third round draft pick.
How do we do that?
And he just achieved so much. He just kept earning it. But the truth is, if you could really build your team, you wouldn't spend that money on a guy who plays his position. You would do with a little bit less than, because it would save you more money that you could spend other places. Other than him, it's really Cortland Sutton or maybe Ronald Darby. So that's it. And Ronald Darby is coming off an injury. If you really believe in Damari Mathis, okay, Darby may be a guy. Okay, you got him for one more year. He's coming off injury, but you do have him for one more year. So maybe you can get something for him. And Cortland Sutton is the next one that kind of, smash you over the head. Although he makes a lot of money he's probably on most teams now, Rachel, unfortunately, a fourth receiver. He's definitely not a number one. I mean, maybe he's a number two. He's not a slot guy necessarily. He really projects for the Broncos as your fourth receiver. And likely he would sort of shape up that way for most teams. It's harsh, Rachel. This pro football life, you go from the top of the mountain to the valley like overnight. And again, I'm not trying to say anything bad about Cortland Sutton. That's just a reality check. So when you give these guys a lot of money, Rachel, and big time deals, to make them valuable, you've got to have production. Rachel, he has 2 touchdowns in 26 games.
Yeah.
So really the Broncos are in a super tough spot to accumulate draft picks. They're not in a good position. That's not good news for George Payton. For Sean Payton, it might not even matter.
It's so funny because, last year we were all saying before training camp, all this team needs is a quarterback. They've got everything else. They just need a quarterback. And now when you really break it down, they're struggling in a lot of areas where there was a lot of potential for a lot of these players, but we haven't seen the potential actually meet what we saw. Because
Rachel, oh my God, talk about, I hope Mike Evans is paying attention to this. Listen, the best scenario is, all right, to give Mike a little credit.
Tank. Don't you dare tell me it's to tank.
No.
Okay.
No, and this is a major league if, and the hit percentage is super low. But the best thing to do is be successful with a rookie on a first-year contract, okay? Now,
Hold on,
you draft somebody in the second... Here. What's that?
My cleaning ladies are here.
Hold on. My God, this is fantastic. This is fantastic. Rachel goes to the door. Looks at the cleaning lady.
We could have it till 1:15. I just am doing a meeting.
She's trying to negotiate another 10 minutes in the room.
I can definitely. Okay, perfect.
The bed looks already made. She's done a good job making the room clean. There's not much work to do there. Doesn't trash the room. Here she comes back. Little pep in her step.
I scared the crap out of her.
Rachel, you'll have to go back. I just did a little play-by-play of you talking to the maid.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I got to say, the room looks fantastic.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. You're checking out of the hotel. Because of you guys. I care. I don't want you guys to have a messy room to look like.
It doesn't look like there's much work to be done.
Yeah, I know. So, anyways. Housekeeping, yeah, I know. I scared the crap out of her. I was like, they told me I could have it till 1:15, and she's like, oh, it's okay, I'll come back. So
Of course, of
I love
course.
how everyone's talking about, yeah, I made it for you guys, okay? I made it strictly for all of you so you didn't have to look at anything messy. The room looks pretty good, though.
I just said on my play-by-play, absolutely fantastic, spectacular.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Should we talk about the Nuggets?
Let's go.
Let's talk about the Nuggets and their odds because they are not the favorites to win the NBA Finals this year. So, DMAC, do you know who is?
It's probably the Celtics.
You are correct. How do you
Number
feel about
two
that?
is probably the Suns. And what do you say the Nuggets were 4?
Yep.
And then probably Milwaukee above the Nuggets. How'd I do?
Boom.
Okay.
All 3.
Great. I love it.
Make you feel?
Love it. Think less. I wrote about it at denversports.com. It's a rare moment in sports when there's nothing to be critical of. And there is nothing to be critical of this Nuggets team right now. Seriously. They had about as good of a first half of the season you could possibly imagine. And if you got a problem, any problem with the Nuggets, it's a you problem, not a Nuggets problem.
Yeah.
And Rachel, last night, it was easy. They beat Luka, and Kyrie didn't play, but so what? Jamal didn't play, and neither did Aaron Gordon. Rachel, it was easy beating the Mavericks last night.
Real quick, let's just play the hypothetical, okay?
Yes.
I think your point is you can't get mad and like jump on the bandwagon because this team quite literally could make a run for it. But what about, I'm going to sound like James Merrillat, what about if you don't agree with some of Michael Malone's choices? And I don't have anything in particular, but I just know that a lot of people do have frustrations with Michael Malone. So what would you say to them on some of his just decision making?
You can't have nice things in life if you are upset with Michael Malone. I mean, what exactly would you be upset about? He's 27-4 at home. Best in the NBA.
Yes.
Listen, the thing with Bones was we're hearing more, especially my guy Jake Shapiro behind the scenes, about how fractious the relationship actually was with Bones. Not even recently, even going back to last year. You had to move on. Davon Reed, nice enough dude. Who cares? Second round picks mean nothing. We talked to Thomas Bryant, the big center from the Lakers who just came over. What a good dude. Right off the bat, and you can tell instantly he's going to fit in. And he talked about the camaraderie and the chemistry of the team, and he's barely been on the team. Yeah. Then you bring in Palmer High School, Colorado Springs superstar Reggie Jackson, who's an NBA vet at this point, and he realizes this is his probably best shot to win a championship. Way better than he was, and he was basically cut, because this team wasn't going anywhere. Kevin Love is in that same department right now. Russell Westbrook is there. This just happens. So what you got for Davon Reed, Bones Highland, who is a distraction and a second-round draft pick, essentially, because you got draft picks back, was Reggie Jackson and Thomas Bryant. Okay. You're upset with a coach that figured out how to get Vlatko Čančar effectively involved in the rotation? Rachel, Jeff Green had 24 points last night. Christian Brown is unbelievable as a role player. And KCP and Bruce Brown are unbelievable additions. You're upset with Michael Malone? Pshaw. About what? I mean, the only thing that you should be upset with Michael Malone about is you don't like the same microbrew that he likes. Other than that, shut the hell up. I mean, this guy's going to be the coach of the year and is coaching in the All-Star game for a reason. No, you don't get to be upset with Michael Malone about anything right now.
Real quick, does he not have talent carrying him, though?
Every coach has talent. They are loaded.
Are we agreeing that Jokic is unbelievable talent?
He is unbelievable talent, but so is Shaquille O'Neal, and he wasn't winning championships without Phil Jackson. Listen,
fair.
I get it. It's legacy time. There's no debate if Michael Malone is a good coach. He's a great coach. However, do you have the real mettle? Can you really do it when it counts? And we're about to find out. And that's the pressure on Michael Malone. We understand that he's a very good NBA coach. Is he a great coach for the postseason? That's the question we don't really know. Yeah. They've gotten to the Western Conference Finals with Michael Malone. It was in the bubble, and now's the true test. Rachel, they have to, just like the Avalanche last year. I mean, no matter what, They've got to make it to the Western Conference Finals. But my hopes for this team are far beyond that. In my head, I'm seeing fire trucks and horses with Jokic being carried by a horse at a championship parade. That's what I'm seeing.
Do you really think Kevin Durant's going to make that big a difference in Phoenix?
I think they're going to have a chemistry issue. And I think the Suns will probably be, in my opinion, a more dangerous team next year than this year. I think in just 20-something games, it's hard to find that chemistry. Now, if the Nuggets face the Suns a little bit later in the playoffs, maybe they would have had that time to blend together. And Kevin Durant's, absolutely one of the top 5 players in the NBA. There's just no doubt about it. But can they find that chemistry? And that's what the Nuggets have. You hear it from everybody. You just got Thomas Bryant, who talked about the camaraderie and the chemistry of the team. He's barely been here, but he was in a very toxic relationship over there with the Lakers, who are a very selfish team. They're a me-first team. They're a look at me. They're a LeBron team. Not that LeBron's not great, but there's just a different vibe, a totally different feeling with the Lakers and the Nuggets. And Thomas Bryant expressed, he's happy to be here. And he's from upper New York somewhere, so he doesn't care about snow. How about this? Did we ever think we'd see the day where somebody is happier to be on the Nuggets than the Lakers? And Thomas Bryant is, legitimately.
But sometimes you put too many superstars into one room, and what can happen?
Yeah, but that's not the Nuggets. Jokic had the most reluctant triple-double of all time last night.
But I'm saying that's the Lakers.
Oh, okay.
Which is why I think the Suns, I'm also with you, could have a chemistry issue, and I think it could take till next year.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Totally agree. And let's see with Suns and 4 guy and what they can really come up with. I get it. People are scared of them. They think what could be. But we already know what the Nuggets are. And there's a big difference between knowing what you are and what you could be.
You should write a book or something like that, D-Mac.
Listen, I killed myself to write one lousy column for DenverSports.com. I killed Jake Shapiro, who's my world-class editor. Writing a book, Rachel, I'm exhausting everybody in my circle.
Listen, but everybody loves it, okay? Everybody loves it. We appreciate your writing. And I know Jake also enjoys editing it because he sometimes gets a really good laugh out of it.
I'll tell you this. For all the people that think we only hate, that we're haters on everything, read this column. I literally wrote a column saying you can't hate on anything.
Yeah.
And I praised everybody. Watch who hates this one. Like, if you hate this column, you got a dark soul. That's for sure.
I actually do think it's funny that, most people think that we just absolutely hate and trash on everything. But in reality, that's not the truth. But when you talk about so many things, you start to see like little things, right? For example, when we talk about the Broncos, there's the little things and the red flags that you're like, oh yeah, that could be an issue. And just when you talk about it so much, you like start to notice those things. Do you agree?
Yo, totally. And, I'm lucky enough to be around the Avalanche at the same time. So the parallels between the Avalanche and the Nuggets, Rachel, are unbelievable.
Yeah, people in the comments aren't happy about you trashing on the Avs and hyping up the Nuggets.
Well, I wasn't trashing on the Avs. I was giving you a reality check of where they were at, and I was 100% right. People were saying, coffee break, you were wrong. Hell no. Did you see what it took for them to win? First of all, very gutsy win last night. Way to go. But they virtually benched Curtis McDermott, okay? They barely played him after he played a lot. It was great getting Josh Manson back. They really overextended themselves, and they did not put a lot of shots on net, although their high-danger attempts were good. Okay, cool. And they were actually high-danger shots were the same as Minnesota. But, Rachel, Minnesota outshot them 42-19, okay? I mean, you had a really gutsy win by the team, and that's awesome. But that's the type of effort and game that's going to burn your team out. It's a back-to-back, and they went full throttle to win. The Nuggets don't have to do stuff like that. And guess what? The Avalanche didn't have to do stuff like that last year at this time. So, no, we were spot on coffee break. We said they were going to be exhausted. They were making excuse to lose. They got blitzed and outshot like nobody's business. It just so happens every once in a while in hockey, Rachel, your goalie can stand on his head and win you a game individually. But it's not like that was some sort of like, oh, wow, look at us dominate the Wild. I mean, that was a bad loss for the Wild. Terrible loss for them. Good win for the Avs. But they got to keep going. I don't change one word that I said about the Avalanche. I'm glad they had the courage to step up and they didn't cave. So it shows you they have championship character, which we said they did.
Yep.
We're only critical of the Avs at this point because they've set the bar so high.
Exactly.
So, lighten up, Francis, you Avalanche, apologists, and you can have fair criticism of the team. You know why? They have fair criticism of themselves. They don't just sit there and say, we're the Avs, it's hockey, everything's glorious. They work hard to correct issues, and they're the ones that are saying it's not easy to get in the playoffs and we have to extend ourselves. Meanwhile, hockey guy with his retro sweater just thinks they're magically going to glide into the playoffs. It doesn't work like that.
Lawrence says the Avs are in hot water. Oh, yeah, they are. DMAC spin truth. The drive is going to be fun today. I can already tell, DMAC, as always, it's an absolute pleasure having you with me. Thank you so much.
All right, go turn your sheets down.
Yeah, I know, actually. I saw another
towels in the bathtub.
Rachel, you got to get out of there. They're going to charge you an extra day. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. But we will be back tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. I am actually off tomorrow. I'm going to enjoy the Florida weather. So we'll be with DMAC tomorrow morning. And we will see you guys on Monday as well. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Bye.